All right, let's take a look at day trading, the joy, more joyless, but the joy that was last trading day, which is the 6th. It was, the hourly is probably, we'll go to the daily, of course, just like we always do. So here was the 6th, and you can see how it respected the 28th, and you know, and so on and so on. But let's go ahead and do it. Let's draw that line. And then let's get a couple other lines going here too. We're going to go back in this range here because this is kind of the range we're playing in. Even though we didn't have too much information on this day, but we can see where it was trying to cover. So if we look back, you know, we have a downtrend, we have an upper pause, pullback, a touch, almost a completion, and then here, look, how we touch it, we go up. So this is the range it's kind of living in, and we get that from the daily. So if we have this information, it's a little harder, but you know, hindsight, of course, it's easier to see. But the important thing, I guess, is you can see where the area that it respected. So let's go ahead and, whoops, that's my kiddo. Let's look at an hourly time frame, because I thought the hourly what's up, Grace, huh? Was probably the better one to look at. Jesus Christ, is everything gonna make fucking noise today? What the fuck? More than likely, yes. Alright, let's take a look at the day, shall we? So we are going to play with the 6. I like to come in a little bit before. There's no way I'm there. We are looking 7 a.m. is pretty much a good spot. For most of the time, 7s, like if you're trading a New York session, that's never really a bad time to get a general idea of what it's going to do. You can tell by looking at the hourly. You know, you have this consolidation here. Pre-consolidation, you have a top, right? Right about there. So let's draw it out. And then you have a bottom, which is here. Actually, if we go all the way up to where we begin, our bottom's like right there. So we'll draw that out too. So we know going into it, we're kind of ranging from here to here on the hourly. We have a top, we have a bottom, we got from our daily. Got a nice base there as well. Let's go to 30. See if we can make sense of this crazy fucking day. Okay, so in the 30, you really get a sense of, you know, where your lines really develop. So you come in 8 a.m. I arrived late to work, and sometimes I day trade at work. So I missed this 8 a.m. signal here, which was an absolute monster. Because it was a bottom, right? It was an absolute low. We nailed it going back from our previous days, but we can see it established a low there, right? And what time frame are we on? We're on a 30, so we're going to break it down lower. And we're going to look. So once it hits the low, right? Oh, it's so beautiful. I wish I was awake. I was definitely not ready for that. Let's break it down a little slower. So we have the 5 minute. 5 minute, you get a little more detail. It just looks all red on the bigger time frames. On the smaller time frames, you kind of see, pulled back a bit, started moving up, pulled down, up, move, pulled down. So the question is that's if you were awake for this, right? And you know this is a bottom based on our previous daily information. Okay? And this is a 5 minute time frame. If we want to break it down even tighter, we can go to 1. And this is important because it's really going to set you up for about, there wasn't a lot of really tasty trades that you could have made, but there was about 2 solid trades that you should have made. And this was one of them. So on the 1 minute, we can see how it's kind of toying around here. It never breaks this area, ever. Goes up, goes down. You see it go here. You know this is a base. We've already established that from our previous daily. It costs you almost nothing. 50, 47, 3 points. Or even if you go to the top area in this small area there, 59, 47. It's manageable. You take the long. You put your stop loss below. Right? Here's the 930 crazy. There's always 930 crazy, and you can always see it on the open. But actually here, I apologize. That's 830 crazy. Oh, nice. Well, I wasn't awake for that shit. But bam, goes up all the way up. And let's take a look at that wick. I like to do 2 things when we see a major move. I like to go to a small time frame. I like to see where the meat begins, and I like to see where the wick stops. And I like to see where, so this would be like a wick. Some people call them tails, whatever. And I like to just get a line there. Even if I don't even know what the rest of the data of the day is going to be. But we know from our baseline we've established on our daily, right? Excuse me. I was so pissed off for not waking up early enough to trade this, but you can see, how we just went over that. Solid base. Very solid base. Bang, bang. 1, 2. I mean, Jesus fuck, what more do you want? And it gives it to you, gift wrapped. So that is the first trade to take, doing your analysis of the day, which is here. And we are going to put a little I hate myself box for not hitting that trade. Now, if you want to look at pure points, 61, what do we get here? 109.49. Right? I mean, there's no way you're contemplating. Let's just look at the overall run now. 107.62. So it's a mere 187 points. Now, sometimes it's hard to get filled on the wick. You may get filled on the body. So, but you get the picture. That one trade your entire day. But realistically, you probably would have wham, you know, it happens so fast. You're probably, your out's more than likely there. So let's just say 764, 854, you're 90 something points. You know, you nailed 2 contracts, 3 contracts on that. That's a day. Wrap it up. But we did learn one thing. We learned we had a lot of push. We had a pullback. Now let's go to like a 15. And here's where it gets a little interesting. So you can see the lines vary a little bit, but on the 15 I like to look for patterns, and I like to look for areas where I think I might get another decent entry. So we have this massive move here, pull back to the base, right? We shoot up here to a top, then we start declining down. That's your second entry. It's close to the bottom. This area here by far is where you want to be. That's your second trade of the day, right? And we'd be looking to get out at the meat of that line or the wick, or if you do multiple contracts, say you did 2 to 3, I wouldn't, that's a good exit. This is a good exit. And if you wanted to get out of one and leave one, I know a lot of people do 3 contracts. They'll go ahead and they'll pick like nice levels. They'll get out there, they'll get out here. The last one, they'll move their stop loss down to here, which is actually in a profitable position, and they'll let the last contract ride, and they'll just see where it takes them. But if we look at the day's fuckery, you know, it's a little bit of a twist here, right? So we're thinking we're gonna get, at least what I was thinking is I was thinking we're fulfilling this smile, right? So we have a base kind of there, which should have gave us a pullback, which it did, right? So if you're looking at this entry or this entry for completing the smile, it actually was here. I think what fucked me on today is I took a short in this range. So I thought once we hit this area, we were going to have a retrace, and really we weren't, because we already had one here, right? So that was shame on me. But I thought we might have had a pullback to here before we made a continuation up. We didn't get it there. We didn't get it here. And I got wrecked. And then by the time I didn't get wrecked, but I didn't have a positive day. And by the time, I want to say, I missed that area, and then on the 4, so right around 4, once it broke here, I thought we were going to retrace to here, which we didn't. And then I don't like trading after 4 because I think a cutoff for my qualification is like 410. So I switched to a practice account, and I did a multiple contract down. And then honestly, that last trade would have put me up for the day. But you can see, really, that was probably shame on me for thinking it was going to pull back down, because we got that pullback there, and that gave it really a corrective move up. But if you were chasing a massive drop, you would have been your last. It gets a little tricky here because you have these multiple areas going up, but it looked like it really respected that top right there. So this area would be your short area. Really there. That's a little risky, isn't it? I don't know, 52 to 66. That's still manageable. So you'd be looking to short in this area. And I think I missed that. I was probably out getting cigars. But that would be your short. So, couple lessons. Maybe don't day trade at work. But also, you know, look at I guess what I try to explain on this channel time and time again is history repeats itself with respects. Everyone says, well, there's money spent, there's money earned, and that creates levels. And that's what we're playing. We're playing the green. In this case, we're playing the green and the red candles. And you can see in the larger time frames how they correct. So what I'm saying is, if you see a massive amount of green, eventually you'll see red that will correct to that area. The game is how and when. And that's, you have to deal with, institutions, you have to deal with AI, you have to deal with a lot of things that drive these numbers or these charts. I think we've all been in situations where just out of the day, massive wick. I had one trade where I was profitable. And I was like, okay, let me go ahead and move my stop loss in front of my trade, which is a technique I like to do a lot when I'm in the profit. And it flash wicked. And so it was just, I don't know if it was a 20, 30 point, it was just a real quick wick, boom. And then, of course, I wasn't as quick as that. And then that turned my profit into a loss in a millisecond. So you're dealing with a lot of things when you're getting into day trading. But hopefully what you see, or what I try to continue to push is there are areas and there are lines that make a lot of sense. In some of your previous days trading, you might see a beautiful range, like from here to here, there to there, this massive amounts of easy money to be made. And then in a day like today, or a day like this day, you have a beautiful sign here, and then you have a massive up move, right? When you have a massive up move, a lot of times you have a pullback, right? A little tricky, but it eventually pulls back to, instead of hitting the bottom, it actually pulls back to the top. Really the top of that red, right? That red, that last bar is kind of the, come on guys. Yeah. So this bar kind of respects that area of the bar, doesn't it? Let's take a closer look at that. And so if we actually move that line down to the meat of the bar, which is here, right? And then we have the wick, and then of course we have our previous daily's low. The meat of that, is that 815? 815 bar. Really, really good for longs. But anywhere in this area, you're looking to go long. So massive long, massive long. I don't know if you would have rode that up. You probably would have rode it to here. So if you just hit these two trades, it's game over. Beautiful. If not, it gets a little interesting, because now we're dealing with the top range here, right? So we have this whole top range here where we see fail, fail, fail. And it teases you. It says, hey, wiping you out. Hey, wiping you out. So it gives you a little tease here, and you can see how it just kind of, if you were not going long, right, then it gives you a little bit of a taste. I guess you could have played some of those. What is that, a 35? Still decent money, but if you held it too long, you're wrecked. It wasn't till it hit really this area in here, that top, was probably the last trade to make that day. I missed it. I think I got in. I made a little, and then the last one, it's just, it gets too dangerous to trade after hours with the setup I currently have. But to wrap this day up in a nutshell, 1, 2, I wouldn't have blamed you for, once that wick down, right, and it kind of went up but started moving down, I wouldn't have blamed you if you took a short there. Only because it's, A little dangerous there though, right? That would have ate you up before it went down. Yeah, still a little dangerous. But if you established like a, your wick top, and you have another wick here, and then you have the top there. I'll make it a little bigger. So we have the top of the wick. We break it, right? We don't break it here. So this range in here, I wouldn't blame you for taking a short there. That would also be an area that you would look based on this little information here to take a short in. Yeah, kind of this area. Once it goes all the way back down here, so long, definite long, you're getting fucked. You're getting fucked. If you can't beat them, join them, right? So if you're in that crowd of the can't beat them, join them, you could ride that long up, but I didn't. And then, of course, you have the short. That really wraps up the entire trading day that was the nightmare for me. That was a 6. So timing was also a very important part of the day. So if you are going to day trade, make sure you're uninterrupted and you have a little bit of a window to look at. So if you were looking at the daily bottom, you had this trade, right? So you're literally like 8:15, 8:30, right? Then you have to wait till 9:45, so another hour later. Maybe somewhere in the middle, you catch a down move, but 1, 2, 3 to 4 trades in the whole day, and those were the setups. Those were the trades that made the most sense throughout the entire day. Now the other option you could have looked at is, see, it just gets a little tricky. You like to say, is it making higher highs, for like right here? Well, it does make a higher high and it goes down, and then it fucks you. Then right here, there was your high there, right? Does it make a lower? Doesn't really beat that bar, right? And it does make a higher high. So I guess you could have taken a long here as well, right? You could have gone long with the stop loss a little bit above. That would have been another trade. Would have been here. Because you're playing a top, right? It breaks the top and never really pulls back down to this top. Do you understand what I'm saying? So here's your short. I mean, here's your getting raped again. And then once you break through here, right, it never really pulls back down. Let me take a quick look at this. Well, no, you do get a little wick down, don't you? Right? Then you get a rebase here. But you never really break that base. Yeah, right in that area there. That wouldn't have been a bad. Yeah. Or you could have gone long at the line and then put your stop loss there, but that would have been, what, 40, 48, not bad. That also would have been a decent long, playing off the tops. But the setup would have been a little bit rough because you're thinking reversal. And then it doesn't give it to you. And you're also thinking I'm at a top. So it's a great time for reversal. And you can see they just go, fuck you. But here's a nice little move. And then we finally get, a new area of a top range where you're thinking, let's go ahead and short it. That's what I thought. I had a buddy of mine was thinking another leg up, but, it's Friday and it's getting close to go baby go time, So I was thinking a nice little pullback, and that's exactly what we got. So once again, a quick recap. If we look at our daily, right? We established our baseline. Also look at a 4 hour, I guess. Oh, come on, guys. Look at that. So on a 4 hour, well, if you're trading the 4, like, don't look back, right? Yeah, that's interesting. My God. Yeah, that would have been a sweet trade if you like long time frames. Getting in on that second block of the 4 right there. Ooh, nasty. Absolutely nasty. Yeah, that would have been sick. So, but you can see kind of where it was correcting, right? So we had to move from here to here, and it corrected that entire, this entire move down is what it corrected during that day. So when we talk about, excuse me, balance in the market, right? And some people say, well, you know, if you're trading this way, you're bullshit, and you know, you need to be looking at, you know, price action and all this other stuff. I mean, there's so many tools out there, and find one that you like the best. But what I see time and time and time again, at least with the Nasdaq, is that you get in these areas where it just makes sense. You know, it really does make sense until it's on to the next area. And what I mean by that is, so this range is here, right? And this range is probably from 1222 to current. Well, before that there was another range, and before that there was another range, and so on and so forth. But when you get in these areas, you can almost see, it's a little clear here on a 4, but you can see a high, which we've drawn out, right? Got a low, got a high again. Oh my God, where's it going? Oh, it eventually goes right back down to the fucking line again, right? Oh, I wonder where it's going to go from here. Well, guess what? It goes all the way fucking back up. So, yeah, I guess if you were trading the 4, you would probably have to wait till here, you know, but it gets a little, it's not really that simple, because let's be honest, you know, if you're playing, what is that, 142 to, you know, 183, you're not eating that much volume, you know. But to give you a basic sense, you know, in between, this is the game, these little moves, you know, gaps and all that stuff. But in actuality, yeah, once we hit this top area, look outplayed, you know, eventually, and then every now and then you get these crazy power moves. So this being said, right, it'll be interesting to see the overnight market, which is probably going to tease one direction, and then the Monday market, I can see doing a couple things. I could see like a fake move up, a power move down. You know, who knows? We'll really have to see where it's going. But eventually, you know, we're probably looking at a break. In a bigger picture, you can see this baseline here is really held up. You know, it's wicked a couple times. I was waiting for, you know, continuational drop, which we haven't got yet. And so if it's not going down, right, then we would need to make another leg up, and so on. You know, we need to fulfill the smile, so to speak, right? But like I said, and I'll say it 1,000 times again, and I hope you enjoy this. If you don't, that's fine. But it's all there. It's all in front of you. And sometimes when we get into these days, if you're playing the moment, it's a little tricky, right? But if we think money spent, money earned, right? If you just go off that simplistic idea, you have a base, rock it up, All right, we need a correction. A little bit. There it is. Back down again. Okay, so if we're not going to test this line, which we don't, we kind of stay right there at that wick. Let's look to go long, baby. Let's look to go long. And in the smaller time frames, it's easier to see. This is a 30. But then, you have your long. A little sketchy here. You're not sure. Are we breaking a new level? Are we getting out of this range? We do. We come back down to it. We kind of base here, right? If we think about it, if we're playing the 30, we might as well draw the 30, right? So we have a base here, and then we base here, right? So we're a little bit of resistance there off the meat. There's the top, but I guess we could see where that goes. Doesn't really take us anywhere important. We start seeing a pullback down, right? So we're to there. Anyone needs a washing machine, I guess they're on sale. Yeah, so it respected that wick on the pullback, which is there. Did not break that. So if you're doing more of an analysis on the 30, within that range, then continues to go up, breaks this level, right? Doesn't pull back, and then continues to go up from there. So, your longs in there. I like to sometimes see, like in here, we had a completion of the smile, then we had tang, but it doesn't always go that way. Like in here, right? We had this crazy move up, move down, completion of the smile, a little bit of a pullback, shoot up. And so here we had a move down, fills, kind of the shoulder area, hits the top. You're thinking, maybe correction. Nah, go fuck yourself. Rolling all the way up to here, baby. Much bigger smile. And now we start to correct. That was the day. If you ask me, there were probably 3 solid trades to make. If you dig a little deeper, you could find more. But for me, it was anywhere off this baseline. 1, 2, and then it was that top area there. Right there. Some of the little sexy in between trades would have been the correction off the top. It would have got scary though, because it pulls all the way back, but then eventually drops into our second major trade. Boom, all the way up. And then here, right, we have the top of this range. It doesn't really correct, so let's take a long. Why not? If you can't beat them, join them, right? So it's not going to go down, let's go up. It teases you, go fuck yourself, go fuck yourself. And then eventually goes down. So that was really the analysis of this day. And you could have crushed it if you took the long off the base. That would have nailed it for you, man. A long off here would have nailed it for you. The pullback correction, that would have nailed it for you. And then if you were around for the toppity top, right, this area in here would have nailed it for you. Now there was if it doesn't hold this line, right, and that little bit of destruction here. See how far it pulled off there. It pulled somewhat. I can't see. But if we break through here, right, we got a little bit here and we got some boogie. You got some fun. But it doesn't. And that's your trades for the day. Hopefully this makes sense. Patience, letting the market react. So if you didn't draw your low based off the other days, you might have just waited for a correction in this area, what you would have gotten here, right? So if you're strategic and you say, you know what, I'm going to let the market play out, I want to see I want to see the war before I get in the war. So here's your move. Here's your move back down. There's your long bang. That alone would have been the only trade you would have needed to make in the entire day. And then I wouldn't have blamed you for getting out in this area, which would have been more than enough for a daily goal. And then, this area here would have been a decent short. Kind of in this range. The thing I probably didn't do a good enough job of analyzing was the massive pullback, which kind of corrected this area, right? So if we hit here, are we going to have a massive pullback again? It's questionable, but look at the previous setup. Pullback, pullback, pullback. So it is possible, right? But sometimes you just got to take what it gives you. And then you have your stop losses, and I think I was down -3 and change for the day, plus commissions. And then the last trade I wanted to take was kind of close to after hours, so I didn't take it. I took it on a practice, crushed it. But anyway, it's all in front of you. All the data is right there. So if you're a hesitant trader and you really want to let the game play out before you enter, right? So you have, your 830, your top, right? Hits it again, kind of right in this area here. So if it doesn't break this area, then we would look to short. So let's say bang, a little bit of fuckery right here. Would have been a great entry. Or just let it play out. Say, you know what? I don't care what it does. I'm going to play this low. And I'm going to hope it doesn't break through. And this is a solid line going all the way across. So anywhere within this area, which it does hit on a wick, you would set your buy with your stop loss. And you're done. You're done for the day. So if you nailed that 9:45 trade, just being relaxed, 15-minute time frame, not getting caught up in the 1 or the 5 and scalping, just play it out, bam, there it is. Beautiful, right? And you're not eating that much, not eating that much at all. Even if you skip the wick, yeah, more than reasonable entry. That's it. That's the only trade you need to make. And if you missed that one, you could have made a quick 700,000-800,000 off of this. But this one, ooh, danger. That one would have been nice. So that's just an analysis, based off previous data. And you guys can do this time and time and time again. And the one thing I would say is never think the market's going to do what you want it to do. Think what you think it should. Well, I guess what I'm saying is take what it gives you, right? So right here, you're thinking maybe it's going to pull back. Kind of went up here. Let's see a pullback to here, right? And then let's see a continuation move up, because that makes the most sense. Here's a nice base. We had up move. Let's do a little bit more of a pullback than a correction. Does it give it to you? No. Eventually, you gotta think, okay, it's not breaking this area, right? And it continues up, goes down, continues up. So that would be a decent long. And then we have a thing here. It hits the top, doesn't hit the top again, tries again, fails. So now we're thinking short this bar, right? Or short the top based off of the other top. And then put your stop loss up there. You're playing these major levels, and you're being patient, and you're waiting for it to hit somewhere in that area, right? Because that's one of the better places to make that move, right? Somehow We can move it up a little in this range, but you get the picture. So when I'm hitting this low area in here, right, unless it shatters through, you know, I'm looking for an upward move. If I break it into a bigger time frame, right, right, I've got these massive up moves, and look at this. Look at the body, how it plays off the body. Played off the body perfectly. Oops. You know what I mean. Look at that range in there. Well, I mean, played off the red body pretty good. Oh, it's hard for me to see exactly where. Probably played off that red wick real nice. But just close to those two bars. But, I mean, look at, destruction. But, you know, after that, you got up. Right? You have a down move, but you're going up. You're going up. You're going up. You're going up. Oh, I wonder what it's going to do when it hits here again. Well, let's take the fucking long. And, you know, that's pretty much what you saw. I really should have looked at the 4 hour too. That was a bummer on my part. You know, the 4 was pretty as well. The problem with trading the larger time frames is you can take a lot of heat. You know, unless you get in at the very, very bottom. You know, a move on a time frame this large can wipe your account out instantly. So it's good to look at for levels, you know, like if you thought, like the dumbass I was, and I think it's going to pull back here. I think it's going to pull back here. And it just crushes you. And then this area in here is really where you get the pullback. But I think we get the overall picture. Take what it gives you. Look at your major lines. And a lot of times it's an easier game than you think. You know, I would say 90% of it's mental. You need to manage you. So the trades were there throughout the day. They weren't as, you know, super quick, and, you know, we level, bang, level, we're not going down, tease, boom. But you didn't have as many opportunities as I would say when you get into a range like this, or when you get into an area like this, where you're getting these constant retraces and pullbacks, you know, the real juicy stuff. You know, here you had there, you had the, you know, nice little reverse, another move up, break, come down. So there's your trades. Hopefully you dug it. You know, get into day trading. Get into something you like to trade. If you don't like to trade something as aggressive is, you know, the Nasdaq, you know, you could always do other things. I think this is the best because the more you day trade, the more you find out that volatility is your best friend. I don't mean like news event volatility, though it is nice. You know, if you're listening to the news and it just crashed all the way down to a line like this, you know, it wouldn't hurt to take a long there. But sometimes during a news event, you could get this. And then it starts, you know, so you really wait till the chaos is over. But look at, I mean, just look how easy that was if you're just patient. So if you just saw that, if you didn't take the long there, you're like, you know what, I'm just going to wait till it gets within this range, and I'm going to take my one trade. And it didn't take that long. Sometimes it hits, you know, 2 o'clock or something before you can get a trade like that. So boom, we hit it. We're back up again. And then your next major trade from 9:45 was, you know, 3:15, 3:45. Excuse me. So you can see the time areas, or even the trades I drew out where I thought, you know what, this makes sense. I mean, let's look at it. 8:15, 9:45. You know, this range in here, so let's just say 1:30. You know, and then you got 3:15. So it wasn't like you're just ding, 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 you know, not like blackjack. You know, you have to wait, be patient. Those are your prime opportunities, you know. And then the other opportunities, I guess I could take it from both directions depending on how you like to play the game. Whew. Let's shrink it down. Yeah, not really too many areas. Let me see. Not too tasty. You know, you almost want more of a level base if you're playing the small time frames. Let me take another look. Something like that. So if you ever get into scalping, which I like a bigger range than that, but what we look for on a nice scalp, here we go. Let me see if I can just find one that's just super tits. Probably there. It's not really giving me the best ranges here. It was at 62 to 66. Yeah, you're just taking 5. Let me see here. So there's a 62. Yeah. So take an area like this. If you're ever doing scalps. The problem with scalping is or micro trading, however you want to call it. What you look for is you look for a consolidation range, right? And you say, oh shit, we got a base here and we have a base here, right? And you can pick one. If you think it's an upward trend, maybe you pick the bottom, right? And you go heavy. So you're doing 3-4 contracts, bang, bang, bang. You put your stop loss a little below there. You ride it, you establish the top, you get out. Now, sometimes you can play both directions if you want to go pong, right? So let's take a look at the line we drew and how many trades we can get in once we establish the base. So we have a short, we have an up, we have a pullback. So now we have a high, we have a low, does a touch again here, boom, enter here, long, big time, right there's your exit. So you're taking a 62 to 67. You're taking 5 points at 3 contracts, right? So you're taking 15 points. You get out. Now you can write it right back down again. Boom. And then right back up again. Boom. Now, the problem is, and you can do this, not really there, there, and there. 1, 2, 3, 4 times. Right? Yeah. So you could have done it 4 times. So let's say you're doing 3 contracts, 5 points. So, or we'll just do 5 to make it slimmer. We kind of hit a low, we hit a high, we hit a low. So we can call this our entry, or if we want to see one more verification, this is our entry here. We go long. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, right? So that's 35 points, right? And you're doing 3 contracts, right? So you've just pulled 105 points micro scalping. And if you truly believe that the breakout is a long, and this is where it gets dangerous, because sometimes you can go bam, or you can get this doom, and this skull fucks you. But sometimes you can put a long trade here, right, just above everything else. So on that one continuational move, you might be able to get a ride up. But this would be an example of micro scalping or micro trading. You're looking for this, a set range that repeats itself, and this is from 8:39 to 9:57. So I mean, it's an hour, but it does make sense. And sometimes you get those ranges, man. You know what I mean? They play off each other well. But that would be a micro scalp area. If you look at these smaller time frames, eventually you'll get those areas of consolidation, right, before it makes a big move. But sometimes if you get those, you could trade the 1 minute. I used to do that so much. It's a lot easier doing these, right? Bam, bam, you know. But if you are highly addicted to blackjack, you could play that strategy as well. But all right, hopefully you had fun, learned something, or enjoyed the day of day trading. But yeah, have a great weekend.